Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
Number 40, People versus Martine McDaniel, 23825 Epic.
Zachary Ward for the people.
Kenneth Overwater, Assistant Public Defender, on behalf of Mr. McDaniel.
Good afternoon, Mr. McDaniel. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Today is the date and time set for sentencing. Have you had enough time to go over your pre-sentence investigation and report with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Have guidelines?
Nothing from the people.
My defense would object to the scoring of OB9. Not sure if it's scored on the basis of a danger to the officers or loss of property, but if it's the loss of property, those offenses were pled down to misdemeanors. It's being scored for the resisting, and for the resisting, there's no use of force, which is evident from the scoring of OB19. He ran and was later stopped. Short bit of running, so I don't think it supports the scoring of OB9 on the basis of any risk of injury.
Your Honor, I was assuming it was scored for posing a threat of injury to two or more people. In this case, the defendant ran from one officer, pulled through the grasp of another officer, and then had to be surrounded by other officers to be taken into custody. All of this occurring in a U of M educational building. So I feel that at least two people were put in danger of injury.
OB9 stays at 10.
And then OB12, I'd object to the scoring of 5 points. He is being convicted of offenses for all criminal acts. Just some of them are misdemeanors, but there's no uncharged acts to score on the basis of OB12. So I would argue that OB12 should be scored at 0.
Your Honor, he resisted from officers downtown as well as resisted from officers in the U of M building on North Campus. So
You're saying those are uncharged.
those are uncharged RNOs.
And so there were one other, so that would be a friend against person, so that's one.
Yeah.
Stay at 5.
I have no further objections, no additions or corrections to the body of the.
Anything from the people?
No, Your Honor.
The end of the recommendation for probation.
Yes, Your Honor. I think it was appropriate given that he's on parole when this offense occurred.
Yeah, we would ask the court to consider a term of probation with a suspended jail sentence. Obviously, the facts of this case are of some concern, but this is a gentleman who was released from the Department of Corrections. These offenses, these retail fraud offenses, these are the type of offenses from a person who's been incarcerated, was released, had no resources, had limited places to live, could not get a job with the underlying offenses that he had. So he was not able to function at a high level while he was released. And then when he had police contact, he didn't want to go back to prison for obvious reasons. So he ran. My hope is that if he's sentenced to a term of probation, that probation can help provide him with some resources that can teach him and help him to succeed in society. Because even if the court sentences him to a jail term here and he goes back to the Department of Corrections and serves a parole violation, he's going to be released again, and he's going to have to find a way to survive in society. I talked to him for a while about what he's looking to try and do. And it's my understanding that his hope is to pursue a career in HVAC. So he wants to learn a trade and work in that. And then he also wants to work as a counselor. He wants to help support other young people who've gotten into trouble with the criminal justice system and then now are released and trying to survive on the outside. He wants to be an example for those people, and he wants to work with them. So I would ask the court to consider if a jail term is what the court's inclined to do, I would ask the court to suspend at least a portion of that, if not all of it, so that he can be sentenced to a term of probation. He'll have to go back to the Department of Corrections and deal with those consequences. But then once he's released from there, I'm hoping that he can take advantage of the resources that we have available here.
Mr. McDaniel, is
Yes.
there anything that you would say before sentencing?
What'd you say?
Is there anything that you would like to say before sentencing?
Yes. I would like to say thank you for allowing me to speak. And I accept full responsibility and I take accountability to my actions. I'm not here to minimize or misdirect the responsibility that I have to accept. I am here to say that I do have a plan and I have been making plans and I do have family support. I'm not alone. And at the time of the offense, I was homeless and before homeless, I had an apartment for a year and a half and I worked at 7-Eleven. So during the time I was homeless, I was just, very impulsive, very in the moment. I took some alcohol, took some wine. I gave the wine back. They said I had a warrant. I ran off. I didn't want to go back, to prison. The larceny, the backpack was given back, so everything that was taken was returned. And I made a very critical decision in a very, impulsive moment. So I'm dealing with that now. So I would like to go on what Mr. Overwater says, that not just locking me up, right? Not just locking me up, but giving me opportunities where I can learn in my condition. I'm on parole. I'm on tether parole. I can learn how to operate more efficiently when I'm under pressure and things are not going my way and I can't, move how I would like to move. So I have my mother out there before I was locked up. She asked me to come stay with her. It was just like a week prior. She said, come stay with me. And it was because of my parole and my situation that I could not, my PO wouldn't allow me to transfer because it was too far. I'm a sex offender. I'm just come out, I'm a sex offender. So he wouldn't allow me to transfer. So I have support, but when you're on registry and you're on sex offender, just the stipulations won't allow you to move how an ordinary person would move. So like I said, I'm here to accept responsibility, accountability, and I appreciate you for listening to what I have to say.
Mr. McDaniel, I'm listening to you, I'm hearing you, I'm also reading, and your actions have told me your level of commitment to change. I understand that in the last time you were before the court, you had some other life struggles as well, but every time you get out, you end up with another opportunity to come back in of your own doing, and not just recently either. There's most recent violation involved in alleged sexual assault. You had a prior domestic violation with the same victim you had a no contact order with. You were sanctioned for having sexually explicit material back in 2020. To your credit, your parole agent says that you report when you're required to. But other than that, you unsuccessfully discharged from treatment. You're not performing, and I'm not sure that our probation department can give you any other resources. You'd actually get more, and I understand that you are looking at a return regardless by your parole agent, and I think that they can best address your needs, but there does need to be some accountability for the actions that you did have relating to these charges stemming from last October. That being said, I'm going to modify the recommendation, and in file 23825, you don't have any credit because we're on parole at the time of the instant effect. She'll be sentenced to 5 months of incarceration in the Washington County Jail. Your crime victim assessment fee is $130 and a state cost of $68. It will be $50 state cost as to count 4 and $50 state cost as to 5. I'm striking 2 and 4, which are the attorney's fees and the court cost of $1,611. If you would like to appeal your sentence, you can do so. Your attorneys will give you a copy of your appellate rights. The important one for you to know is that you have 42 days from today's date to make a request for assistance in writing for your appeal. Do you understand that, Mr. McDaniel?
Yes, so I have 5 months county time, right?
5 months county time, and you're not on probation when you're done, because my understanding is you're going back on parole and they can provide you with the resources that you need.
Yes,
help you execute that plan. But I will wish you the best of luck going forward.
understood.